This is VOCM Open Line. Call now to get in the queue. 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now. Here's your host, Brian Callahan.
Good morning and welcome to the hot and steamy edition, otherwise known as the Thursday edition of Open Line, now that I got your attention. Just referring to the weather and what it's looking like around the entire province today. Brian Callahan with you, along with the producer of the program, David Williams, who is just itching to take your calls, get you in the queue and on the air. And the phone numbers to do that in the St. John's metro area, 709-273-5211. Long distance, 1-888-590-8626, which stands for VOCM. And our email address is openline@vocm.com. And we have a lot of emails, a lot of opinion, a lot of links being shared to me. And, there is a lot, and I'll get to it in a minute. But, it does promise to be another very, very nice, warm, late summer day. I say warm, should be downright hot in the sun, if that's what you're getting today. And believe it or not, most of the province will. It's really consistent right across from Western Labrador right to St. John's. Just about every nook and cranny of the province, with the possible exception of Nain, which is looking at still a high of 18, and that's the so-called cold spot. So love it while we got it, is all I can say. Hopefully it continues well into the fall, as the fine weather has, in recent years, minus the H word. I'm not going to even go there. I will not utter it for fear of tempting the weather gods. Moving on. So it wasn't pretty, but the Jays shut out the Royals last night, 3-0, ending the Royals' 9-game winning streak. Two storylines in this game, period. Nathan Lucas atones for his game-losing error the night before, the base-running error, with a game-winning shot last night. 3-run shot. That was all the runs. And the Jays' bullpen. That was the other story. It being a bullpen night because of the injury to scheduled starter Shane Bieber. I think he's on the 2-week IL. So 7 pitchers out of the bullpen give up a total of 6 hits, no runs. That's not bad at all. But the bats, boy, oh boy. We can talk about all that. One of those pitchers, by the way, Chad Dallas, had a great outing. Set down 7 or 8 in a row, right in the middle of it. Only his 4th, I think, start in major leagues. And only because of my age, I want to say he's the brother of Larry Dallas. And if you know who Larry Dallas is, well, you're definitely as old as me. And on a side note, and I've mentioned this before, these shots that the catchers and umpires take to the head from a baseball coming at 90, 100 miles an hour or more these days. The ump got one square in the face mask last night, and it rocked him. I mean, he knocked him backwards. And yet, take a minute, walk around, how you feeling? Good? Okay, right back at it, behind the plate. Maybe it's just me, but these hits to the head, my God, it just make you flinch. And just watching it from pitches, and foul balls that are coming at him that speed. And they appear just as jarring as hits to the head in other sports, where there's a pretty strict concussion protocol. So it just appears like so much of a double standard. If you look at the blue tents in the NFL, or back to the dressing room for a hit in hockey, obviously, there are differences, but still, if you saw that and who's to say the implications and the after effects? Anyway, after effects. I still say they're not taking those hits seriously enough in baseball, but that's just me. And over at the Little League World Series in Pennsylvania, Canada looked like they came to play against the heavily favored Japanese yesterday, but a few costly errors early, maybe some nerves, maybe even a little bit of inexperience, given the incredible talent these kids have at such young age. It's easy to forget sometimes. They're only 10 to 12 years old for Little League World Series age. That's the window. So, wow. But a great run. They fall one step short of the quarterfinals, but it is Canada's still best finish since 2017, I believe. Our best finish ever was second place back in 1965, of course, mentioned that yesterday. And we also tied twice, by the way, in 90 and 98. And great quote from Canada's Jacob Massel after they were eliminated yesterday. "We were just here to have fun and win games. What's more fun getting to play baseball with all your best buds? That's really what helped us. on the field. God love them. And let's see what is going on. It's just a sports-related question I want to throw out. How many errors should an umpire be allowed to make in a game before he gets the hook? Holy. I know, and not just the Jays game, but other games last night. I know it's not an easy gig, but these are supposed to be the best of the best. And, there were a couple umps last night. Had a bad day, had a bad night. Some of the misses weren't even close. And, with the playoff races in full swing, one strike or ball in these games to these pitchers, or to the batters, completely changes the complexion of an inning or a game if it's a miss, and of course it gets in your head when you find out in the dugout it was a strike, that you could have got out of a jam or whatever. And then there's the bettors and gamblers who lose money on blown calls all the time. So you have to wonder how much longer umps will be calling balls and strikes. It's one or the other at this point in the major leagues, that is, alongside the ABS. Teams just want certainty, consistency, and you only get so many challenges too, right, as a team, regardless of how many calls the ump gets wrong. So there's an imbalance there. And as for the umps, there's only so many times you want to be proven wrong in front of thousands in person or millions on TV and online. So I think that's going to come to a head. There will be a reckoning there, I think, somewhere along the way. So a couple of quick positives before we get to the harder stuff. I meant to mention yesterday that not only was there a cruise ship in town here with almost 2,000 passengers on this side of the island, also one in Corner Brook yesterday, of course. I had that on my list, but I had a bunch of technical issues here yesterday. And things got all in flux. So great for the tourism industry, of course, and businesses, of course. And I would note, I know Jerry Lynn Mackey here from your VOCM Morning. She was down on the waterfront talking to some of the tourists and some Americans. And so many of them just, apologists, really. They've become the apologists, some even embarrassed American tourists in light of the tariff situation, literally saying they're sorry for what their president is doing. And clearly not in agreement. So your thoughts on that. And yes, someone in our province hit the jackpot last night. $5 million, big ones. Let's see, it was a $5 million jackpot. Matched all the numbers in the classic draw for $649. No actual location. Sometimes they'll, say what part of the city or maybe even the store sometimes. But anyway, someone's got holding a pretty valuable ticket there. Here's hoping I'm closely related, and you know where to find me. Okay, and so look, another very rough and tragic last day or so for the Bayvert Peninsula. And this coming just a month after 2 fishermen were lost off Harbour Round. And I see where the area MHA, Lynn Paddock, has been, posting about these most recent tragedies. One person died in a house fire in Rattling Brook. On the other side of the peninsula, a fish harvester off Westport, I believe. And he was apparently returning with a big load of squid when his boat was swamped. And I heard MHA Paddock talking about talking openly. No life jacket. The man couldn't swim. Yes, this is the time to mourn and grieve, absolutely. And I cannot imagine being in the shoes of any of the relatives and the people who are just still absolutely in shock and grieving over this. But we have to learn lessons from this. That can happen with investigations, of course, for ourselves and our families. And I wonder, will there be an investigation into this one? Either TSB or Occupational Health and Safety, I don't know. Still waiting to see if the TSB will investigate the incident off Harbour Round. Lots of calls for that. Hasn't necessarily been established. I think there is one going to be into that float plane that crashed near Paddy's Pond over the weekend. No fatality there, but still lessons to be learned. And, I hate to continue with all the hard news, but can't not mention the hundreds dead or missing after this sudden flash flood on the Chinese-Nepal border yesterday. The videos are just unbelievable. Some of them, they cut them off because it's too horrific to watch hundreds of people just being swept away. Apparently a glacial, like a wall of mud and ice, collapsed into a river, and this just caused sudden torrential flooding of water, just destroying several small villages, just swept them away, along with hundreds of people in an area very, very popular with tourists. And it appears there were at least 24 Canadians there and still missing. So, Anyway, the latest totals are more than, I think, 1,300 are missing, more than half of them foreigners. So, we can talk about all of that, of course, as well. And, the tariff situation, there's so much more on this. All this talk of Team Canada approach, need everyone on board, on the same page, not even close right now. The big stickler being this debate over whether to restrict or put big tariffs on energy exports now. So, of course, Premier Ford, of course, still pushing for everything on the table, cuts to energy exports. Specifically, he mentioned electricity to the U.S., saying all options should be on the table, echoing former Alberta Premier Jason Kenney. But Alberta, Saskatchewan, Quebec, firmly against it, especially on when it comes to oil or electricity. They're thinking chronologically what will happen next in the tit-for-tat, leading to potential disastrous supply chain fallout, job losses, energy shortages. I know Saskatchewan Premier Moe listed off a raft of reasons why potash can't be on the list. They provide, I think, is half the world's supply. And Belarus just waiting to be able to step in if we cut our supply. So, the U.S. would go there. They would. So, and after listening to Mr. Greer yesterday, the chief U.S. negotiator, I would very much like to see all the details of what we rejected and why. We put a lot of trust in Prime Minister Carney, absolutely, and rightly so. More than anything, he's been able to somewhat temper, I guess you could say, I don't know. Look, would we have gotten any further without the Prime Minister? It does seem that he holds a bit of cred internationally, and that may be somewhat helping us. I don't know, but just all that's safe to release on the draft text of what exactly was offered, what we rejected. Not release anything that's not in our best interest. So whether it's a recall of Parliament or, as Mr. Poilievre has demanded, or just a release of the draft. But given the gains or reductions in tariffs agreed to, on steel, softwood lumber, the auto sector, no one's denying that there were good drastic cuts in those tariffs. There's a lot we have, the right to better understand. More info makes us better informed to make informed decisions, especially when we're being asked to get on board, whether it's the booze ban or whatever, for the team approach to work, So lots on that, of course, we can discuss. And on the Churchill Falls front, as I mentioned earlier on the VOCM mornings, getting lots of opinion, lots of links that are being sent to me. I don't necessarily link. I see all the links. I'm seeing the stuff on Facebook and the detailed analysis by different groups of people and individuals. And I see now where there is apparently a protest plan for Confederation building prior to the debate in mid-September, and information sharing in the House, we hope, in a couple of weeks. But as for the deal itself, the so-called MOU 2, thinking about this, the key element for me, regardless, because we have so many numbers being thrown around and interpretations of it, and both sides saying everyone's being misleading. Okay, so if we can't sort that out right now, because, again, we've been told negotiations are still more or less continuing as they and hammer out the finer elements of the deal in the hopes of signing some definitive stuff at the end of the year and December 31st. But, whether it's the pricing models or whatever, clearly, no one can say definitively right now which one will turn out to be the best. No one's Nostradamus. We all saw the mistake in '69 of unpredictable, not really seeing where energy prices would go, the energy crisis of the 1970s. And, if we're talking another 50 years, with no real out clause or way to change it or revisit or to ensure it's living up to the goodwill, of both parties, fairness, then yes, we are repeating the mistake of '69, or potentially, I don't care how much more power, more value, more transmission we're told or promised we'll get. All of those things have the potential to change. There's no question. So for me, far more important than the dispute over pricing models right now, because there is no certainty on that front, the most important element for me that must be included is a set term for review. That could, resolve a lot of issues. It could, allay a lot of concerns. Just a set term to review, the contract. After this many years, whether it's 6 years, 10 years, whatever, maybe make it a 10-year interval, at least, not 50. Why not make it that? And or we can copy the U.S. as they did with Kuzma. They have a 6-year term review that they look back at it because so much changes in that short period of time. And that just recognizes the volatility, the unpredictability of not just the markets, but where prices of everything, including the index that measures said prices, are going to go. And we unfortunately know better than most firsthand just how volatile and unpredictable the prices of energy, particularly hydro, can be. And if anyone claims to know whether it will still be as valuable a commodity in 50 years as it is today, well, It's the old saying, right? I got some land for sale somewhere, God knows where. And yet, last thing on that, the Quebec election writ has dropped today. And we'll see how much of an issue the Churchill Falls deal is in that election. The PQ has certainly backed away from saying, look, we're just going to rip it up. They're willing to look at what the benefits are. And there's so much more to discuss on that. But look, I'm right on that first break. We've got callers, and I just wanted to get a few of those things off my chest. But I can't cover everything. There is a ton. There's the new Marine Atlantic Ferry. Oh, geez. What else was I looking at? There's the Meta settlement. Yes, I haven't gotten to that yet even. So, look, and I don't know if anyone saw this red pickup flying along the in the brush along the highway, and why it was doing it. We still don't know exactly what happened. The RCMP was appealing for information to identify this truck up along the highway that seemed to bypass some construction or whatever and just flew along, and the video's pretty wild. So I think it was called the Dukes of Hazzard scene in our news story. Not unlike it. Anyway, if you have any comments on drivers and what they're at these days, I have no idea. There was a person in front of me this morning. I didn't want to hit the horn or anything. They were at the green light. I'd say I waited the entire green. Didn't move. It turned out, as I managed to get past them on 2 lanes later, a hoodie over a baseball cap. I could barely see him down in the seat, and his head straight into a phone. So there you go. Distractions are us, right? Good part of what's happening on the roads today. In many cases, the reason for a lot of tragedy that we just don't need. Okay, on those happy notes and those informative notes, Dave, let's take that first break of the morning. We got callers in the queue, and we're looking for you. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Thursday edition. Let's get the show going on line number 2. And Chris, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you?
Morning. Good, thanks.
Good, good. Did you enjoy your long weekend? I hope no news happened to distract you from it.
Nah, nothing going on. It's funny. You just got to poke your head in, right? I mean, as you do your best to stay on top of things because you have to, especially with this show. But it's a delicate balance. But you tune out at your peril.
But you need peace, too. Can't be all bad news.
You're absolutely right. Trying to balance it, boy, these times, it's tough trying to turn it around and get a positive spin in your head on some of these things. But, yeah, no, I appreciate the thoughts on that. It was a good break, necessary, and you just got to put your head down and dive back in.
Yeah, well, I'm about to throw a bunch of numbers at you, so the piece is well and done.
Warning, math was not my suit, but, I can figure out the basics, but go for it.
So this is, here to talk about the New Deal, and we do actually have quite a lot of information inside of it. Mm-hmm. You definitely can't predict how much electricity will cost 50 years' time from now. That's a crazy thing to do. But we do actually have schedules of payments.
Yes.
So at least within this framework of the contract, we can, say how much people should be getting, where that power is going, what the value is, even if there are tweaks to be made somewhere down along the line.
Right.
And at least for Churchill Falls, when it comes to Gull Island and the wind power and all that, while we have a little bit of distribution of power, the best I can find on pricing is a blended average of 7 cents.
Right.
Which is not... That part is truly not very useful, but we do have distributions and payments for the existing Churchill Falls plant. And getting back to the Premier was on last Friday, and he was very excited about the optionality that we retained, and that was the word that excited me the most when I first heard it being talked about, because if we retained true optionality over the project, then that would mean we'd have 5.5 gigawatts of the existing power to do with what we want, which is what will happen in 2041. But instead what we get is 1.6 gigawatts of optional power if all of Gull Island gets built out as large as possible. And we don't even get all that power until 2061. Mm-hmm. And so when the energy minister, Lloyd, is on talking about doing long-term planning and building an economy, those are good words, but the project that's proposed is really an industrial park in the Labrador Trough that is subsidized by the power that is generated and given away to Quebec. And so, Quebec, for the whole lifetime, under the best case scenario, retains 22 terawatt hours of energy. And if you put that into a dollar value, that's around $2 billion a year as a minimum. And they get that until 2077. And they get much more than that until 2061. And so what the deal is basically borrowing money from the future. We are essentially selling that power ahead of time in order to pull that money into the present and build a bunch of stuff we don't have money for. And for that, Quebec gets to maintain an asset for 50 years that has a value of at least $200 billion. And that's just from the Churchill Falls site. They get to keep that for the whole time. And under these payments, under the best case scenario, Quebec is only paying us $168 billion for that. And that's a great deal for Quebec. And I really wish that, when the finance minister was on, he just alluded to there being an escalator clause. He didn't get into the nuts and bolts of it, but a small amount of inflation difference over 50 years really changes things on their head.
Absolutely.
So on the island, we of course are the party that is most excluded from this deal. If you're an island ratepayer, all you get is a 15% discount. Well, what's power going to be on the island come 2077? And you're right, predicting is bad and dangerous, but if inflation goes on at 2% a year, then we're looking at 45 cents a kilowatt hour come 2077 on the island. And if it's really high, like electricity has been, if it's at 3.5% inflation, then our power on the island is going to be pushing 80 cents a kilowatt hour. And long-term economic planning would not let that happen. And that is what we are guaranteeing happens if the deal, as it's written, goes ahead.
Okay, so it's absolutely. But, here's the thing with all of and of course, the numbers, as you mentioned, the sort of planning against what we're going to get before we get it. It kind of reminds me of the tobacco settlement money. But in any event, when we talk about look, I saw an interview yesterday, and look, any conversation, sorry to go from one to the next, but any conversation that includes the word if we get this in 20 years, if we get that, if this happens, if that price is this, if there are any sentence that right now has the word if in it, I'm deferring to the unpredictability element. And it's interesting. I saw a couple of interviews yesterday. I guess the CEO of Hydro now, Jennifer Williams, is doing interviews in post, there was some time sort of lapsed from August 17th when the deal was signed. So 10 days later, and I saw a couple of interviews yesterday. And of all the things she could have highlighted, she mentioned, there are a lot of improvements. And remember, this was the CEO, Jennifer Williams, who said the last MOU was the best we could do. I appreciate that, new eyes, fresh eyes looked at it. The independent panel looked at it, and I can appreciate that they saw improvements, and that's what they've tried to do. But the very first element she highlighted was this 150% premium pricing option. It basically allows the province to sell its unused block of power, any unused blocks of power, back to hydro at 150%, at the contract rate. I've asked several people, I've yet to have anyone been able to answer the question, under what circumstances would they do that? Using our unused, who, at what point would they want to or even entertain paying that much for it when, as you just pointed out, what they've already solidified and locked in with the deal is more than enough to satisfy their initial energy needs. And what kind of scenario where does that happen? So of all the things the CEO could have highlighted, that was the one that she chose. And again, it kind of reminds me of the dairy situation in the tariff war. There's a normal price that everyone agreed to in CUSMA, but then if they want to sell more or intrude more on the actual deal, then it jumps to like 230%. Governing which is what Trump sees, even though it's rarely ever used, right? No one ever really exceeds that because the companies are careful not to, because they don't want to pay 230% over and above plus what they're already doing, and that goes to the heart. It's complicated, but they're processing, they want to sell it directly to Loblaws and Sobeys, and it turned out they could only sell it to the processors in Canada who then turn it around and sell it to them. So it gets tangly, but the devil is in the details. And I'm sorry to go on like that, but there's so many parallels, hey?
So that block of power pricing is what's called the premium tranche.
Yes.
And that would only apply to the 1,600 megawatts that we get in the big Gull Island build-out scenario. If Gull Island isn't built, we only get 525 megawatts. And so, it sounds like, 150% must be very good. What we haven't seen is the non-premium tranche pricing. And so the province on their website did post a little bit of a graph.
Yep.
Not quite enough data points to make a full data set out of, but that's the premium tranche, which means that the market rate tranche, which seems like what most of the deal would be based around, it would be 150% below those numbers that they advertised.
Yeah, so they trump out the big number, right? I mean, I'm not saying it's not there. I'm just trying to understand, and I just want the question as to specifically what's the scenario under which they would do that. Have they conceived that, or thought about that? But I'm sure they have.
For Quebec, there is lots of opportunities because the most they'd be paying at that price is, I think, like 30 cents in 2077. And when Quebec is able to sell into a really hot market in America, like when you're out of energy, prices just skyrocket. Mm-hmm. And so last year, even though Quebec had less exports than ever before, they were a net importer, they still made an incredible amount of money because they were selling into a market that was buying power for well over $1 a kilowatt hour, sometimes $2 or $3 a kilowatt hour. And so they're selling the power from Churchill Falls that's made for a fraction of a cent for several dollars. And so the premium tier pricing is, that would be a fine thing for them to pay in many scenarios because, even if they're paying 20 cents a kilowatt hour, if they're selling it for 40, 50, 60 a buck, they're still coming out well and ahead.
Yeah.
Now, and for us, it would kind of be a bad thing for us to need to do that because that means we haven't found the demand or haven't built the demand in the province. Now, how much demand is in Labrador is a very hard question. I've heard estimates of the Labrador Trough having 1 to 1.5 gigawatts of demand just waiting to come online, like in the next decade. And so if we get all that, and then there's a data center, well, that, they can be kind of any size, then we really don't have the power to export if we wanted to. We only get 26 megawatts.
That's the other consideration, absolutely. Chris, I'm just a little bit past the break. I wish we could talk more, but I know there's a lot of people want to get in on this as well. So I got to leave it there. I'm really sorry. We had a good 15 minutes. Man. I appreciate it, though.
Yeah,
listen.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Yeah, no, the various voices, the variety of voices and the variety of opinions are necessary to just keep the discussion going. I'm going to still cool my heels and wait till I get some of these bigger questions answered by the people who made these decisions. So but that's just me. It doesn't preclude anyone from having these, well thought out and well documented and well mathematically thought out, additions to the conversation. So I appreciate it always. And don't be a stranger. Give us another shout.
Oh, I'll make sure to. And for anyone that's listening, I will see you in St. John's on the 14th for the protest.
There you go. Okay, I'll see you on the Hill. Thanks very much. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks. Okay, great call up, Chris, there. Okay, take that break a little bit short, a little bit long over, but come right back with Merv Wiseman, sadly on the latest tragedy, I'm sure. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the program. As promised, let's go to line number 3. And Merv Wiseman, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Thank you for putting me on again.
You're welcome. Unfortunately, no, I love speaking with you, Merv, but this particular occasion is just becoming too frequent.
Yes, it sure is. And look, I want to speak very, very as much as I can, to the families and to the community to express really deep-felt condolences for what's happening. That's first and foremost. We're in very early stages now of this tragedy, and we have to take some time to pause and to digest all that. But it's very difficult in the face of what just happened in Harbour Round, and against the backdrop of what I've been trying to do as chair of the Food Fisheries Committee, and as an advocate, as I've always done. Against the backdrop of the Transport Safety Board and their investigations. And, some of the language that they've used and they communicate to us to say there won't be an investigation into the Harbour Round incident. Some of the language that they've been talking about is to collect the data, to see what trends are there. Well, Brian, if we haven't seen a trend by now, come on, give me a break. What trend are we looking for now, and how many people have to die before they say, no, we have a trend? And Brian, look, I know it's in the early stages again, and we will have more commentary as we get to learn more about this incident. And, we already know a fair bit. This happened in front of the eyes of dozens of people who saw this. And, it unfolded in front of a number of people. Unfortunately, the life jacket wasn't on, and there wasn't time and the means to execute a rescue in the way that we should. But it goes beyond that. The knowledge that's needed to understand what happens with buoyancy, what happens with stability. The vessel was carrying squid, and the free flow surface of squid. As soon as you move, if it's not properly contained, there's no weight distribution, and all the weight goes in one area, and so on and so forth. That's some of the technical things that's there. But that Transport Canada investigation, and to drill down and to quickly understand what's happening, to get that information out and have other people learn from it, we can't underscore that enough. And Ryan, I really believe now we're at the stage of the investigation being elevated to an inquiry. I really think that this issue is big enough to constitute an inquiry, a public inquiry, so that we all learn and that we all give testimony to incidents that's happening out there. Because I haven't stopped on the phone talking to people in various communities, many that are friends, many that are not, and it's happening to all kinds of people out there in these types of vessels and others. And we're just not hearing about it. But when there's an incident like this, of course, it comes to the forefront. But there's so much of it there that there's a big public issue there.
Yeah, and just for, people enter the conversation without all the detail right away, just assuming everybody knows. But yes, this was off Westport yesterday, and apparently happened late yesterday morning. And as you said, it was only a couple of 100 feet from shore. Unfortunately, the details, have come out, including from the MHA for the area, and it's important to know the details, Merv. It's tragic, and I know it's very soon. It is soon. Maybe people are saying it's too soon to be talking about this kind of thing because the family has to have time. But, time is of the essence. This cocould happen again today, tomorrow. It could easily. I hate to say it, as you said, I think I hear of a lot of close calls, along these lines where, it's just a routine. It's the way people have always done it. Some people, longer than others. And it's a routine and a habit, the way they go about it. And safety has always been a lesser thought. The fishery being so important in so many ways. I don't know what else to say, but it's horrific. Getting the call and being the family and anyway. Let me ask you this: what do you think how would a public inquiry, and what would it be titled? Like, what would it focus on? Would it focus? Are you talking about just the incidental things that happen close to shore, or are we looking at the specific recent tragedies and trying to drill down into the causes and find the commonalities, or what?
Yeah, no, you're raising some of the questions, of course, that would come to the forefront with regard to an inquiry, but it would be an opportunity. Inquiries serves a great purpose at certain intervals. It's been a long time since we've had an inquiry now. We used to have a lot of them, actually, into the loss of draggers, for example, in the fishing industry, mid-size vessels and others. We've had inquiries, but it's been quite a long time. It serves as a great point of reference. Inquiries is a lot of authority and a lot of attention. It's usually carried out by, very judiciously by a judge. That's appointed, and the recommendations that would come would, we'd get a chance to drill down into the minds of various experts, bring to the forefront what's being done in the background on education in terms of, marine emergency duties, how much of that is being done and how current it is. The regulations, for example, we're hearing all about mandatory wearing of life jackets and PFDs. The difference between a PFD and a life jacket is something that needs to be known, and we need to make rulings on that. But the structural issues around some of these vessels, manufacturer standards right across the board, not just with one specific incident, but from a broad spectrum approach to look at all the various sizes of the vessels and to understand why, after all the publicity that were out there, that someone would choose to say, I'm going to go and overload my boat, load it down with free-flowing surface ingredients and species like squid, perhaps knowing the difference, but just taking the risk. All of these things brought into question, and to give other people the chance to have testimony. I'm
glad you mentioned that. I think hearing from families, and ultimately what this in the impact it has on them. I think that would be certainly, as you look at the Innu inquiry and other inquiries like this, the most poignant and the most grabbing and the most important testimony has been from the relatives and people who have been firsthand impacted by these things, to understand the depth of it. It's not just another loss; it's a massive loss for anyone. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's okay. By all means. And Brian, I have heard from a lot of families who've had tragedies, St. Lawrence in particular, Southern Harbour, another case, Bonavista, 28 and so on, who really have said to me and have said to others, we haven't had our say. I really don't think the public appreciates and understands some of the issues and dynamics around all the things that happened within the scope of the accident and the way the family was affected, and within the scope of what the person that was lost understood, didn't understand. We had the one out of St. Lawrence, a fishing vessel, and we lost a number of fish harvesters, and we learned, that for example, the DFO and the communication between DFO and the Transport Canada was absolutely lacking, and because of that, there was a lot of good information that slipped through the cracks that the people on board this vessel didn't have, and they were told by the experts, through the process of their investigation, that the vessel should never have sailed from St. Lawrence, that it's a wonder it made its way outside of the harbor, let alone across the bay and carrying out fishery like the crab fishery. So that's the thing that we learned through an investigation that no one knew anything about. So there's a litany of all of these kinds of issues that's there that needs now to get out and get good recommendations. We have had good recommendations right back to the Ocean Ranger inquiry that have, haven't been perfect, but we've garnered enough information. We've garnered enough rules and regulations to save a lot of lives. And let me just wrap this by saying, look, even if a fish harvester makes a mistake, and God knows we're all human and we do make mistakes, even if a fish harvester doesn't wear a life jacket, there should be a big emphasis on enough safety redundancy aboard that vessel on that platform to be able to say, okay, you made a mistake, you haven't worn a life jacket, something has happened, but we got flotation devices built in here, stability, redundancy, and all that built in so that we overcome these kinds of things. We need to concentrate on that. We can do this, but we've got to get the right people in the right place, exercising their expertise and their authority to do it,
I do know. And your voice and others, of same mind and same advocacy need to be front and center because you have the experience. You can speak firsthand to it, not only through your firsthand with the Rescue Subcenter and all that work. I mean, you've seen it all, and Merv, it's undeniable. So, your voice and others should be added to that. Carries weight, and cred. And if anyone can get it going, something like an inquiry, get the ball rolling, it would be yourself and your committees, that you are involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, let me close by saying, the safety is the absolute ultimate. We can look for, 5 cod a day with the participants in a boat. We can talk all that, opening of the season and everything else. But safety is number one. And I think that from the things that I've been seeing and hearing this summer, yes, there's been some infractions, if you want to call it that, of people not wearing life jackets as they should. We know about that. But overall, I'm seeing an overall approach to safety this summer that I haven't seen before in the food fishery and the participants. People are paying attention, and if that wind threshold is exceeded, it's being recognized and saying, I'm not going out there. I want 7 days to choose from, if you will, and all that kind of stuff. But people are not going out, and when they go, most of them are wearing their life jackets, and they're being very vigilant about all the other things that need to come into play. So I got to hand it to the people that's doing that, and I want to encourage them to continue to do that. I can't be emphatic enough in trying to preach that, and I hate to be preaching, but there you go.
No, there's a time to preach and a time to listen, and right now you have the pulpit. So, Merv, I appreciate it. We need to hear from you. Like I said, it could very well be the safety that's being employed is a result of your advocacy, and sadly, the tragedies. People, don't want to be in that boat, and I'm sorry, that was not intentional. That was completely unintentional pun.
Yes.
Thanks, Merv. I appreciate the call, as always.
Yes, and finally, Brian, finally, look, it's early. You mentioned it was early. I mentioned it. But we have to get an early start, because when the answer is no from places and people and bureaucrats like the Transport Safety Board, if the answer is no, it's very difficult to turn that around. So we want to give them something to think about in the very early stages as you're deliberating. Get a move on this. Let's do it, and let's not wait. And so if we got to get an early start on that, then excuse me, we have to do it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Merv. Anytime. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Okay, tough call, but let's see. Let's flip that frown, and let's talk about a little bit of good news. Dave, as we come back.
The news isn't always bad. There is lots of good out there. This is Open Line on the VOCM Big Land FM radio network.
Yeah, let's share a little bit of that good news. So the Canadian Geographic announced the winners of its Canadian Wildlife Photography of the Year competition. So like 10,000 entries, 18 photographers were honored for their outstanding work. But one photographer's body of work stood out among all the entries, and that is that of David Sturridge of Paradise. David wins the 2026 Canadian Wildlife Photographer of the Year Award. He's been selected. Great stuff. Grew up in Labrador City. Talked about, his family vacations to Newfoundland as a child and as a kid growing up, and crawling under fishing stages and finding crabs and snails and fish. And he called it an ecological Disneyland, I can only imagine. So, for his win, he begins a 2-year term as an O'Dane Emerging Photographer in Residence with Canadian Geographic. So that's fantastic news for David Sturge. I think we reached out, have we, Dave? See if we can have a chat with David about that. And of course, the photos, Canadian Geographic, you can go to the website and look at all the great photography, including David's. And as I said, hopefully we'll get into a little chat with David at some point and talk more good news, positive things, which I get more and more emails about. They agree with us, but they want to see us keep that going, given all the hard stuff. We got to try to balance it out. Let's go to our next caller in line number 1, and this will be a case of trying to turn a bit of unfortunate news into good news. Marissa, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi, Marissa.
Hi. My dad crashed his truck on Friday afternoon, just east of Little Harbor Road. Our dog, his name is Reed. He's a Bernedoodle. He's light brown with curly hair. He's 110 pounds. He's a very big dog.
Whoa.
He ran off on the Little Harbor side of the highway into the woods, and he's been missing there ever since.
Oh, my God. Okay, so Little Harbor Road, can you just, for our listeners, just give us what would it be the closest to that everyone would know?
So it's just west of Gander, between the Little Harbor Road exit and Gander itself.
Gotcha.
That evening, someone spotted him in the woods between Twin Lakes, and someone did report seeing him Saturday morning near the golf course, but we've had no other sightings since. So we're operating that he's in that area, but he could be farther away. So anywhere really in the Gander area, east or west of Gander. Yeah,
Dave tells me here, we'll share that on Twitter, all that information as well. Obviously the lost dog he would come to she. He would come to, if called to the name, does he automatically, or strangers? Well, how would he react?
He normally would, but we've been advised that he likely is not going to come to you if you call out to him right now. He's too scared. So we've been told that if someone is to see him, to just take a picture or mark your location and call my mother, Carmel, and we'll try to get out there and have someone familiar to him, try to lure him over.
Sure. And what was the dog's name again?
Reed, R-E-I-D.
R-E-I-D. And look, I know it's... Yes, sir, go ahead.
My mom's name is Carmel Mackey, and her phone number is 640-4357. And that's who we're asking people to call if you do spot him, because the rest of us are out in the woods looking for him.
Yeah. I'm sure. Oh God, family pet. I can only imagine. I can't imagine because I've been there. And look, I know it's a side to this, but you mentioned your father crashed the truck. Is he okay?
Yeah, he is injured, but he's okay. He's home. He's healing. He's doing much better.
Okay.
He's mostly worried about his dog.
Yeah, you don't mind me asking what happened, do you? Because just with the spate of accidents, this wasn't, someone else. It wasn't anything too.
No, he didn't hit a moose or anything. We're not sure what happened. He veered off the highway and he struck the rock wall there on the side.
Jeez. Okay. Well, I'm glad.
The dog was seen running after the accident, so we're hoping that he is at least he probably is a bit injured, but he's low enough to have ran quite a long distance.
Yeah, I was going to say he was in the cab, obviously, was he? Yeah, obviously.
Yes.
Okay, Marissa, listen, it's out there. We have your phone number, contacts, and everything. If anyone can help us find Reed, that'd be a great bit of good news today for sure. I wish you nothing but the best, finding your dog, and of course your dad in his recovery.
Yes, thank you. We were wondering if anyone has trail cams in the area or cabins to just keep an eye out on those, and if they notice their garbage has been disturbed, to let us know as well, because he's probably getting pretty hungry now.
Yeah, right. And this is just west of Gander, you said?
Yes.
By the Little Harbor Road. Right. Okay, again, good luck, and please let us know when you find him, because we know you will.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, take care. Okay, Dave, a little bit late to the news, but that's a big one, and let's turn that into good news. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hour 2. Let's go to line number 3. And the NDP MHA for St. John's East, let's see, could it be Sheila O'Leary? You're on the air.
Good morning. Thanks, Brian, for taking my call. How are you?
More than welcome. Doing well. How are you in this? The weather helps, right? The weather helps.
The weather certainly helps, but first and foremost, I want to send off my condolences, obviously, to the family who lost their loved one in the fishing incident. So I just want to put that out there first and foremost. It's the sun is shining and the people are enjoying things out there, but you know what? There are ongoing issues for people, so I just wanted to make mention of that first and foremost.
Absolutely. We're always conscious. It's not all, sunshine in everyone's world right now, that's for sure.
No, exactly. But look, Brian, I wanted to call you this morning again because I'm promoting the NDP St. John's East Kitty-Vitty District Association, and the Charlie Midas Canada are promoting Charlie Angus coming. Now, you recall we had a conversation quite some time ago. It was in winter.
Yep.
It was postponed from March. Of course, Sheila's Brush showed up.
Yeah,
and,
thanks, Sheila.
And of course, we
Sheila.
had to postpone the event, right?
Yeah, your own fault. It's your fault.
It is. I'll take full blame for it. But in any case, we got him back, and you know what? Never has it been more perfect timing, actually, to have him here. And for those who don't know Charlie Angus, Charlie was the former MP, NDP MP for Timmins James Bay, serving there a couple of decades. Was very vocal, grassroots activist and leader, and now he's working in his retirement now from politics with the Resistance, and he hosts Midas Canada Network, and he is full on discourse of the gangster politic of Trump. And of course, now we're right in the thick of it with the Trump tariffs and all that's going on, and again, the ongoing assault on our democracy. So he's going to come and stir the pot, just like we were talking about, and it's going to be coming on September 17th to St. David's Presbyterian Church in St. John's on Elizabeth Avenue. And basically, it's going to be from 7 till 9. It's going to be a riveting conversation. He's going to really get into a lot of the dirt on what's happening. And you know what? It's going to be excellent. So there's going to be a limited number of tickets at St. David's Presbyterian Church. So encouraging people to get out and get their tickets on Eventbrite. The link is easy to access if you just Google it or otherwise, and you can go to the NLNDP socials and see it there as well too. It's going to be very, very exciting discussion, right?
Yeah, it is. As you said, the dirt. There will be a lot of dirt unearthed, if you will, or just spread around. I hope obviously in a good constructive way. It's hard to be positive and constructive when we're talking about what's going on south of the border and the president's behavior. I know. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I think it's if I can just jump in, Brian, I just think it's about empowerment for each and every one of us in our community, and that's why he's going from town to town and community to community right across the country. That's why I was so keen on having him come in to have a discussion, because we all need to know how we can instill democracy in our own communities while we're going on and having discussions and debates on an MOU, which is like a massive, massive decision that is coming forward for the elected officials, and something that could impact us for several generations. So and on that note, I just wanted to mention that we are at the NDP are putting out an active call to the public for input. It's on our NDP page and otherwise, and we're questioning oversight. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and that's all happening that week. We're going to have the debate in the House that week that he's going to be coming. So September 14th to the 17th is when the debate is happening in the House.
Is it now limited to those 4 days, right?
It is, and we are actually having a meeting tomorrow to find out the rules of the debate, to see how they line up with the former one. Now, of course, I'm the newbie, as you know. I was not part of that debate that happened the last time when the Liberals brought that forward. But certainly we're going to have a discussion tomorrow morning on the rules of the debate, and it will run from the 14th to the 17th, is my understanding. So we'll know more tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so I would dying to ask you what information you have on who exactly will be put forth to answer the questions we all want answered. Clearly, we want the people who made the decisions or made the final determinations of what was in the best interest of the province. So
you got it. You and I alike, Brian. I'm telling you, we're waiting to find out the information as well too. And that's the issue all along throughout this, is about independent oversight, transparency, who's been involved in this decision, and making sure that this is something that is equitable for the people of Newfoundland and Labrador on the whole. And so these are all the things that we're going to be looking at, certainly in the discussion. And but we are actively asking the public to provide their comment, input, and we, myself and the leader, Jim Dinn, who's been very active in this file. We've been meeting regularly with people from all sides of the issue, pro, con, and basically getting the input so that we can represent accordingly.
Sheila, just wondering, how much of an issue the tariffs you're hearing, the tariff situation. I mean, I'm sure it's all Churchill Falls, but just trying to gauge, are people, engaged with it? Are they concerned locally? I mean, obviously, we're not Alberta, we're not Ontario, we're not Quebec. We don't have the most skin in the game here, but we could have some. I think there was a suggestion there might be some seafood included in some of the retaliatory carpet. I believe that's been removed for a tweak, they're calling it. But are you hearing it, in your district?
I think that no, not in the kind of same way that we're hearing it probably in other provinces, but we are hearing from people who just can't afford to live. Let's be honest. I mean, our constituent office is here dealing with mental health and addictions issues. We're dealing with poverty. We're dealing with a number of issues of people just unable, rental rates that are just exorbitant. And yesterday, full kudos to Jim Dinn and our caucus for putting off a wonderful panel on food insecurity. We had some excellent boots on the ground people who were talking about the escalating rates at the food banks and the level of food insecurity in this province, and it's frightening. And while we're having these discussions about how we need to support local, and I'm full on one of those people scrutinizing the labels in the supermarkets and otherwise, we want to make sure that we're supporting our local farmers. We want to make sure that the legislation is there to support growing and becoming more independent as we should be, as we were previously. And so all of these things feed into each other. But what I'm hearing, I mean, yes, we're hearing the high level yay or nay on an MOU agreement that will impact us financially for quite some time. So it is a very important decision to make. But in the meantime, there are people who are unhoused, people who are dealing with mental health and addictions issues, people who cannot access proper health care. These are the issues that really are impacting people in our community, people who are one paycheck away from losing their home. This is the stuff, and so while we're having all these higher level conversations, there are people who are really suffering, and those are the people we're representing. Yeah,
and I'm not specific to any government right now, but governments don't mind when some of those issues are not necessarily always top of the chain, a news cycle, because it's difficult. It's transferred from government to government, and with the mental health crisis, the addictions crisis, the housing crisis, it's not going away. And now we just have these other larger big ticket news stories that are dominating the headlines while this still goes on. And you mentioned, the pricing and that sort of thing. You see where Loblaw reversed its decision to drop the country of origin labeling. They were going to, no longer really be specific about what products, specifically produce, where they were coming from. And sorry?
They'll get some major lashback from that because I know that people are extremely passionate about that.
Yeah, and they did, and so they've reversed it. Timing is everything, right? I mean, they didn't see the deadline coming and going as it did, and it happened just as this was all occurring. So they, backlash from shoppers all over the country in different provinces on social media and that sort of thing. Anyway, they relented, and they're going to return it. I don't know, it might take a couple of weeks or so, but you should start seeing the Canadian labels and other labels where exactly the food's coming from pretty soon back in Loblaw's, at least in the produce aisle, and for starters, that's my understanding. So,
well, Brian, that's a perfect example of power to the people, right? This is where people's voices, when they outcry, how that they can have an impact on decisions that big corporations, governments, anybody make. And so I really strongly advise people to get out, have their say, not only on the MOU but other issues on an ongoing basis, And of course, what a great opportunity to have a healthy discussion, but other than at the Charlie Angus Resistance Tour, which is going to be on September 17th. So, I really think this is a time of empowerment for us to support our own, to support local, to get, our governments to do, stronger interprovincial kind of trading routes and with other nations, because we know that it's so dangerous right now, absolutely and utterly dangerous, to continue to rely on our relationship with the United States with Trump at the helm. It's in many ways the decline of the Western civilization right now, and we don't know where it's going to go.
Absolutely. Sheila, quick question. Is Charlie bringing the band?
He's not bringing the band. I know. I would love to have the band, exactly, Grievous Angels, because they've been playing a lot around. But no, it's just himself and his sidekick. And but we're going to have a great discussion. And also September 17th is my birthday too, so we'll celebrate and raise a glass for my birthday as well when he's in town.
Happy early birthday. It's too bad I won't get that jam with Charlie yet, but one of these days.
One of these days for sure. But anyway, certainly encouraging people to come out. It's going to be a really wonderful discussion. And you can get your tickets on Eventbrite.
Great stuff. Okay, as we get closer to you can always give us a shout just for a mind. Thanks, Sheila. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Brian. Take care.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
NDP-MHA, St. John's East, Kitty Vitty, Sheila O'Leary, right there. Okay, off to our next break, and looking for you. We got a couple of lines open if you're feeling the spirit moves you, because it's going to get busier later. It always does. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Right to line number 4, and Gabe Gregory, you're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. Sorry, my voice a little bit cracked.
Oh, by all means, no, it's okay. Go for it.
I wanted to speak about the Churchill Falls upgrade development in the MOU. And this involves the replacement of the turbine generators at the existing Churchill Falls plant. Right. It was part of the MOU 1, and it's a part of the MOU 2. But in MOU 2, as I refer to it, the cost has more than doubled to almost $5 billion. And the capacity of the generators is significantly higher. But this capacity and development was reviewed in the Independent Review Commission, and that report concluded that this project was of zero benefit to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. That was not a big surprise to people like myself, because I'd analyzed it very closely. But the reason why the IRC came to that conclusion was clearly that this was a project solely for the benefit of Hydro-Quebec and not of any benefit financially or otherwise to the people of Newfoundland. So now we got the same project as the only development in the MOUs that was really, explicitly determined to proceed. It wasn't subject to decisions of Hydro-Quebec. But I'm going to put a new twist on this to describe really what this is like. This is the government of Newfoundland through Newfoundland Hydro borrowing billions of dollars to do a development where the benefit from that is going to go to another jurisdiction. So imagine the Newfoundland government borrowing $4+ billion, $5 billion through Newfoundland and Labrador Housing to go out and build 10,000 new units of housing.
Gabe, is there not a return on investment equation here, though, as opposed to it would be with housing?
No, I'll explain that.
Okay.
If I could finish.
Okay.
So the way this is structured, you build 10,000 houses, and the rent from the houses is at cost, which includes some marginal return. Okay? Okay. It's a regulated return. That's what cost of service means. You produce something and you sell it for what it costs. So that's what the pricing of this is a cost of service. So you only get the benefit of doing this when you do this and the capacity and energy is for the people in your jurisdiction. So if you're going to build 10,000 houses and you're going to turn around and rent it for cost, which is similar to cost of service in the electricity industry, you would have 10,000 families that would be able to get rent at cost. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, if we were to do that, we're giving Newfoundland people less than 10% of the rental units, of the 10,000 units, and we're giving over 90% of the units to people in another jurisdiction. That's how dramatic the giveaway is, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm not exaggerating this. People say I'm misleading people, or I'm really trying to put this in terms that your listeners can really understand how much these developments are not making the people of Newfoundland and Labrador principal beneficiaries. It is staggering. And I don't know, the IRC didn't explain why this happened the way it did. I suspect they got some insights when they did a review, but it was not public, so we don't know. But here we are with the same project, over double the amount of money from the people of Newfoundland going into this, and the benefit is not for us. We have to stop this kind of stuff. This is insane. Financially, economically, politically, from every point of view for our society, this is insane.
You know, if it's insane, it begs the question. You know, we're not talking unintelligent people, as you mentioned, the independent, the IRC, and the people who even advised or constructed this and decided it was in our best interests. Will they not? I mean, the question is, will they be accountable in the House of Assembly, or are we just talking about the CEOs of corporations?
Well, I think now we're in a situation where the people of the province got to understand this, because we, the people, are now, it's in our hands. It's in our hands. Mm-hmm. We have to get answers, real answers, through some public, informed, independent process, because the current government is not looking out for our interests. And I'm very concerned that our opposition, who were part of the old MOU, are not going to put the light of day on what we're doing.
That's a concern.
It's a very troubling situation that our people are in at this time.
That's
very troubling.
Absolutely, Gabe, and that's a concern I've raised before, that, you know, instead of split down party lines, and the Liberals may have very, great information on the process that they went through and can add to this, and the question is the government open to listening, and would the government entertain any advice from the opposition based on what they already went through? I mean, if we put both teams together, you'd think we'd be able to fill all the gaps. The other question I wondered too, and you've had a better look through this than I have, and I see various, but it's complicated. I'm just wondering to what extent we do have out clauses or periodic reviews are part of this, as opposed to being locked in and hoping the Supreme Court will overturn it.
Brian, we've been down that road before.
Yes.
The courts, this contract will be more restrictive than the old 69 contract.
Really?
That's already there in the 71 pages we've read.
Well, I looked through it, and I
agree with you 100% that we can't take the risk of 50 years on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
these things have been said publicly. We can't do this again. We need to have openers. And if I'm all wrong, I'd like for someone to explain why I'm wrong.
Ditto.
My obligation as a citizen, knowing what I know, is to try and communicate how bad this is to the people.
Absolutely. And look, I'm tired of the emails saying, oh, you're a Liberal this, or oh, you're a hacker. I'm just trying to get answers, boss. I mean, honestly, we need answers, and we got to throw the politics aside. And I'd love for all the cooler heads to prevail and get on board with this. The independent part is the other thing. I spoke to the minister 2 days ago, and I've gotten several emails on this wanting an answer. The final document, the final draft, after the April the 31st decision that the former MOU was not in our best interest, the final draft that was constructed in those 2 months before the announcement on August 17th will not be reviewed independently. And this is where the federal government was inserted, and their power and influence. in addition to Quebec. And anyone asks, what's the difference? What's the difference in Quebec? Well, it's 6.5 billion versus 3.5 billion. So that's why that split occurs. And, I just want to know why it's not being reviewed, the final document. And I'm not all convinced that a House debate is going to get us anywhere. We've done that, been there, done that.
Nor am I. I mean, this is what's so troubling with the government, going back on its promise and the transparency that lacks now. No review, no referendum. I mean, this is our future. This is our future. Mm-hmm. And the future of your kids, my kids, their kids, this is generations, another 50 years of this.
And the 50-year thing is...
And you're right, Brian, it's become so political now. So we're going to be exposed to a campaign not only of, the current government in our province like we were 18 months ago, or, so. We're going to be exposed to now, the politics of the country against us. Mm-hmm. Because, the country wants this. I mean, we have to stand up for what we own and what we're doing and be held accountable for what we're doing.
And, the people who know should be listened to, not because of what stripe they might have or what group they might be a part of, and on it goes. Gabe, I got to get off to the break. I know that you...
Thanks very much. I really appreciate your time, and thank you to your listeners. And
thank you to you, and the lines are always open for you. Thanks again. Okay. That's Gabe Gregory there. It was 2041. Your thoughts. Some things are, when you boil it down and get past all the numbers and answers, there's a couple of things here that are very clear. The 50-year, do we want to be locked in for that? Do we have to be locked in? And the independent review of the final document, period. Let's take that break. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the program. Let's go to line number 1. And Jason, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm not too bad, my buddy. Calling this morning. I usually call once or twice a year. Some concerns, not only for me, but from, I guess we're a group called the Markland Road Committee.
Yeah.
We all live in on the gravel section of the road between Markland and Colonette. Mm-hmm. And every year it's the same thing. It's just a constant struggle. The road is in there. It's not being fairly maintained. Our rep for that is a highway depot in St. Joseph's, and I speak with them on a regular basis. But they're just trying to get the road graded, just to get the gravel road graded. It's a horrendous road.
Jason,
it's terrible.
Can I ask you a quick question? I thought I saw something a couple of months ago, maybe, I don't know how long ago, maybe a few months ago. You had a back and forth with... Yeah, you had a back and forth with the minister, Barry Pettin.
Yes, sir, and you know what? He's an awesome minister. I got to give him credit.
Sure.
I speak with Barry on pretty much a regular basis, but Phil, I have to call in today. No disrespect to the minister, Mr. Pettin, but it's just a constant struggle. But we're in there, and we're in a situation. All of our vehicles. We use that road. We live there. There's several houses in there. People that live there. There's people who go to their summer places or whatever, but there's quite a few people who live in there. And one of my biggest concerns is the safety of us living there. That road, if by chance, if somebody, we're very fortunate it don't have to happen, but if somebody had to have an ambulance or a fire truck or something sent in over that road, I don't even know if it would get in there safely. And I kid you not, I know that might sound a bit extreme, but that is the case. I got a four-wheel drive truck for a reason, and
you're bottoming out.
You can't live in there with a car.
Yeah, I was going to say a car is going to bottom out on some of those.
No, and I understand that the situation our economy is in here in Newfoundland, and you know what? It's not good, and that's no surprise, or shouldn't be new to anybody here. But my God, it's 2026. We're not fighting for pavement. Yes, we'd love to have pavement. But, at least if you could grade the road, we're not... I was told before, well, you don't pay taxes. Well, I do pay taxes. And all of us in there pay taxes. We pay taxes when we go to work. Every time we get a paycheck, there's a certain amount of that paycheck, our taxes, they go out to infrastructure. And if you went to a gas station, Brian, I can tell you, if you went to a gas station and you went in, you pulled in your vehicle, and you filled up your tank, And you went to pull away and you come to the realization, well, my vehicle is not working. Why? Because they sold me water instead of gas. Well, you can go back to the gas station and you can say, boy, I didn't get what I paid for. And you would get compensated. Because to me, it's false advertising. But we're living in a time now, like, we should not have to be doing protests and calling public airways like this to fight and scratch and claw for a basic right. Like, we're less than an hour from St. John's, where if they want everybody to move to the Avalon, and that's quite apparent, because this seems to be the location for whatever reason that they want everybody to be. But, like, what have we got to do? Move into the city or what? Like, I moved from the city to have this. I spent 25 years of my life in the city, and I was out here every weekend. Like, and even still, like, what do it take? I get people come up to me, like myself and one other resident there. We're like the chairs of this committee. And it's the same thing over and over and over again. Last week I met a depot. I spoke with the supervisor in St. Joseph's, and he explained to me, well, we're getting some upgrades done, and hopefully it's going to start this week. Well, I've been told that since the spring, pretty much. I haven't seen no upgrades on the road. And in the meantime, not that they're not going to happen, but in the meantime, the road is getting worse and worse every day. Like, it's ridiculous. Last week, after I got off the phone with the depot supervisor, I went out the road. I was heading towards Whitburn or Markland, and lo and behold, I meets the grader coming in the road. I said, well, thank God. I said, they're actually going to do something with the road, but this is awesome. I stopped the workers that were in the truck following behind. I guess they would be the spotters or whatever, or flag people. And I said, boys, how much of the road are you going to get done today? He said, what do you mean? I said, well, like, you got the grader. Where are they going to start? In by calling it and come out? He said, oh, no. He said, this grader, he said, we're going over to Placentia. I said, you're joking. He said, no. He said, I said, you drive over this road in the grader. I said, destroy the vehicle you're driving in, plus the grader that they're in, and not drop the blade. He said, we are. I said, my God, you can't be serious. He said, yeah. He said, we share the grader among depots. He said, we pretty much got the only one that's working right now, so we share it among depots. And I knew that the depots close in the summertime and this and that, and that's understandable, but we should not suffer from service. So they took the grader and they drove on to Placentia or wherever they went. And the road, I'm telling you, it's as bad as I've ever seen. I've been going since I was a small child. I'm 52 years old. And it has never changed. There's a gentleman in Colonette, Mr. Davis, and God bless him. He's been forever fighting for this forever. And the man is in his 90s now in a home. And he's still got letters from when he's been fighting for this. We've been on NTV. We've had protests. Like, come on, boy. Yeah, I know we're in a situation. And as the gentleman spoke earlier about the Churchill Falls deal, yes, they're a bigger topic and higher topic things that are in the spotlight. To me, it's like a low-hanging fruit. But, like, we should not get neglected. We're not, like, I feel as if we're almost getting punished. It's like we're like the laughing stock of the depots. We're in there and can't get a road graded. Yeah, it's bad enough, boy. We're not second-class citizens, and we don't pay second-class taxes. So, like, come on. It's the high time that they do something about this, boy.
It always plays on my conscience that I'm not covering every important issue in this province, because I know that tariffs are big, Churchill Falls is big, but in the immediate, in the today, when you need to get somewhere, these are the immediate things. Listen, a quick question, Jason. Excuse my ignorance, but the contract that was awarded in 2021 to 1.4 million
they
awarded.
Don't do kilometers.
Okay, because I remember
2 kilometers. They never even done the worst part of the road.
Okay,
I'm like,
that's what I was curious about.
Like, it's ridiculous, boy. And I'm not partial to whichever government it is. It don't matter who it is or who it was. It's broke. Let's fix it. That's what we're supposed to do. I don't care what. I'm not biased to any party. But, like, come on. Do what you're going to do and get this sorted. Like, we live here. We contribute to the local economy, the GDP, everything. And can't get a road fit to drive on to be able to go to work, like fight to go to work. Like, that's highly unacceptable, boy. I can't buy it.
What's the total length of the Markland Road?
Where I am right now, from the end of the pavement, the gravel section, to Colonette, it's about roughly 10 kilometres.
Okay, because that
It's not a lot.
No, that contract in 2021 was supposed to be for 6.85 kilometres, and
Yeah, well, it never done it.
south of Main Road, right?
Was it 21 or around 15?
The one I have, and I remember this one.
Yeah.
That's why I was able to find it.
Yeah.
It was May 26, not 2021, and it was to include paving of 6.85 kilometres road beginning approximately 5 kilometres south of the Main Road, Whitburn.
Yeah.
And the installation of
that
guardrails.
That was out in the community of Markland. That's not in where we are.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm
We're on the
wondering.
gravel section.
Because it just says
Yeah,
Route
so
81.
From the gravel section.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is all Route 81. It turns Route 81 in Whitburn.
There you go.
And it heads south to Collinet, and it stops in Collinet. So, yeah, that one is approximately 20 kilometres, we'll say, for argument's sake. But where we are is about 8 to 10 kilometres. And, look, it's terrible. It's ridiculous, Brian, and I'm after offering, and not in a sarcastic or a demoteful way. Like, I would love to have the minister come out and just to show them how bad it is, and they can say they realise it, but I don't really know if they do. And I'm not saying that they're telling lies or anything else, and I know they get busy days and stuff, but there has to be officials that can come and look at this and just come to the realisation of how bad it really is. Like, I get the supervisor telling me he drives the road every day. That's not the case. I lives there. I sees anything goes in and out the road. There's only, you know what I mean? Like, because I watches for it. And no, sir, there's no one driving that road or checking up on that.
And it's
not a chance.
Not to begrudge the people of Placentia or even Dunville, because I've been down that road too often.
No,
and that can always,
they deserve it too.
Oh my God, yeah. Any word from Sherry Guyman Walsh on, lately?
I get nothing out of her. You know, I respect her position and everything else, but no, I don't. I've dealt with her in the past, and she says she's doing this and she's doing that. She's not doing nothing for that road. I won't even tell you what was said to me, but it's irregardless. It don't matter. PC, Liberal, NDP, I don't care. But yeah, no, she's for where we are in there. There's nothing. We get nothing from her. Like I said, I won't tell you what was said to me, but you know how things work sometimes.
Unfortunately, in politics, yes, and that's why, God, I've been beating that drum. And if you've been listening to the show, we got to park it and get down to the betterment for people and remove it. Like, it's so dark ages, Jason, the whole...
For all people.
Blue and red.
I don't think we're out to our communities.
Yeah.
Like, I see people over in different parts of the district that she looks after, and they're being taken care of. It's an awful coincidence that it all happens in pretty much the same areas all the time. But we're only looking for some bit of support to try to get a road. And it was said to me about taxes. And you know, that's wrong, boy. I can't help what happens in other districts, and good on them, but, like, we do pay taxes. But, geez, I pay almost half of my paycheck every payday in taxes. And it goes towards infrastructure and the provincial government and the federal government. But, like, we're not getting anything we're paying for. Like, how much?
Yeah, and you know what, Jason?
It's getting old, Brian.
I'm hearing from the crowd. Yeah, and I'm hearing from the crowd in Burgeo now who are singing from your same songbook. We all know the issues there.
Fine.
I mean, you're not alone, and it'll.
No.
Yeah, Jason, only because I got to get off the break. Look, you're always welcome to share whatever you were told privately in an email to me, just for my own information, if you like. But look, I don't know what to tell you. The back and forth that you had that I see here. With the Minister Pettin earlier this year, I guess I just wonder what it meant.
Oh, no, it do mean something. I will tell you that, Brian. Mr. Pettin has been very, very good to me and us in our area. It's shocking I got to go right to the minister, but I do give him credit. That man is doing whatever he can every time he's asked. He communicates back with me, and is both on a respectable, it's almost like we're friends that know each other. He's a good man, and I don't care what anybody says because of his political stripe or anything else. He's done nothing but good for me. And again, I've never called in to discredit him. His hands are pretty much tied to a point, but, like, he can speak for this, and he knows that, and I know he can, and it's just a matter of priorities. But I assure you, he will do whatever he can do. But I just want the rest of the people to realise why I be calling and stuff. Like, I got everybody in here coming to me saying, how come the road is not getting done and this and that? And
I gotta get off.
Call in and
yeah,
I know.
Sorry.
Well, I appreciate your time, Brian, very much so. I will be back again, and if they grade it here coming up, I'll let you know.
Absolutely, do so. Again, there's good people in there. Unfortunately, politics blinds the lights. Thanks again, Jason. I appreciate it.
Right on, my buddy. You have a good day, and thanks for listening.
You too, man. Good luck. Take care.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, bye. All right, off to the break. A little bit late. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the program. Just quickly, a bit of breaking news here. A case that I covered quite closely, and this is the Protect NL, the three women, and there was a group of people, of course, in a protest up on Confederation Building. You remember the big boat that was on a flatbed trailer, and police arrested them, and members like Brenda Lee Kitchen, Jennifer Whiteway, of course, Amanda, they were all arrested and charged and that sort of thing. I just got an email saying they won the case. Now, this had been back and forth in court. There had been some delays and postponements and a lot of stuff going on, but I just got a simple email saying, good news, Brenda Lee, Amanda, and Jen won their case. Congratulations to three women in a boat. So I guess on the break, we'll have a chat with the newsroom and see if we can chase this down and get a hold of the people who were involved here. But apparently this breaking news just happened in court this morning. So that's great news for the Protect NL crowd, and others maybe not so, depending on what you think of their efforts and how they went about it on Federation Building. I'll just throw out that. I mean, again, when I see the decision and more details of it, I'll probably go there. But for now, let's go to line number 3. And Devin Drover, you're on the air.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Great. Thanks for being available. So, when the Prime Minister first announced the relief on the excise tax, it was great news, but we all knew that he'd have some time trying to put it back on, as they say. So you're calling now, the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, calling on the Premier to demand they cancel any gas tax hike. Elaborate. Feel free.
Yeah, so we just, here at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, we just released our 28th annual gas tax honesty report. So this is a report we've been doing for 28 years now, every August, where we break down how much Canadians are paying at taxes on the pumps. And, we've had what I'd say a good news year for taxpayers earlier this year when Premier Wakeham made the previous government's temporary gas tax cut of 8.5 cents per litre, a permanent gas tax. And, I think Newfoundlanders and Labradorians are certainly seeing the relief from that at the pumps, even though we are facing higher than average gas prices. It unfortunately could be worse if we didn't see that gas tax cut. What we're afraid of now for taxpayers is that, the Carney government rightfully cut gas taxes by 10 cents per litre in April. That tax cut is set to expire on September 8th. And, I don't think it's going to be a right time for taxpayers to see a 10 cents per litre hike at the pumps. And, it's often abstract when we talk about, 10 cents per litre. It kind of can be hard to grasp. But if you think about on a fill up, for a normal minivan, you're looking at about $7 more in taxes. For a pickup truck, it's about another $11 that taxpayers will have to pay on the pumps after September. So, we've been grateful for the work the Premier has done this year. We've seen other premiers, including Doug Ford, who has quite a good relationship with Carney, reportedly asking for the gas tax cut to be made, to be at least extended, so we don't see higher prices at the pumps. And we'd like to see Tony Wakeham do the same.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Again, especially with the thinking that the Premier has had and this government has had with continuing with the 7.5 or the 7% reduction in the rate here and keeping that in place. So it's almost like, do what we did. And boy, oh boy, September the 8th is going to be some kind of day.
Yeah, exactly. And, we had polling completed independently by LedJ, which is a very reputable polling firm. And it shows 64% of Atlantic Canadians oppose raising the federal gas tax back up. So, I think it would be a popular decision by the Prime Minister to keep gas taxes lower by 10 cents per litre. I think, and I often think about rural parts of this, we're in a very rural province. Unless you're in the metro area, you can't rely on government transit or public transit. And, I also think about, the people we have working in our skilled trades in this province. You can't take your tools on a metro bus. It's very difficult for anybody to lug their kids to hockey practice on a metro bus. And, when you're outside of the St. John's area, you have no availability at all but to drive. So, I think it would be a smart move by the Prime Minister, and it would be an encouraging move by the Premier to write the Prime Minister on this issue to, really emphasize that Newfoundlanders and Labradorians can't pay more at the pumps.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I had a flip through the gas tax honesty report that that the CTF put out, and I'm getting through it. It's a lot of stuff I've got on my plate these days, as you can only imagine. But people should have a look at that. And Devin, listen, I appreciate the call today. Have you made formal representation to the provincial government on this, or is this your first shot across the bow?
This is our first shot. We just released our presser this morning on it, and we'll be following up with our supporters to encourage the Premier to take action on this.
Yeah, I can't see what political harm there'd be in just calling for it, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
And to show where they stand, and then again, get everybody on board this Team Canada approach, hey? And the more voices, the more consistency, and the more louder the calls, the better the odds. So thanks again, Devin. I appreciate the call today and for highlighting this, and we'll see how long we have to hear from the Premier, yay or nay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Great. Take care. You too. Thanks. Devin Drover there, the Atlantic Director and General Counsel for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Let's go off to the 11 o'clock news. And let's see. We'll be right back with your calls. We've got a couple of lines open. The final hour is always busy. So get on to go, and we'll hear you soon, right after the break.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And welcome back to Hour 3, the final hour of the show. Time if you wanted to get in on the action. You got less than an hour now. Just going back briefly to a lost dog just west of Gander near the Little Harbour Road. I just received a little bit of advice. Absolutely, always can use a little bit when people are in the moment trying to find a pet like this. Hi, just wanted to offer some advice on the missing dog, Reed. Just recently, I rescued a tiny 10-pound dog that was lost in the woods since April. I went every day to areas where I thought she was seen. I kept going back every day with warm food to the same area. She was there, but very scared and wouldn't come to me. So I decided to borrow a live trap from wildlife, and it only took me one day with warm food, and she was only in a cage for about 2 hours. The longer there is no human contact, the wilder they get. My advice to the family would be to get a live trap, put it out every day for a few hours so it can be checked on. The beautiful little 14-year-old that I rescued is back with her owners, and it was all vet approved. Well, that's good news, and I love the good news and some great advice. Maybe it can be employed in this case, and we hope for the safe return of Reed to that family. Let's go to line number 1, and Bev, you're on the air.
Oh, hi.
Morning.
I remember not too long ago you had somebody on talking about that poisonous hogweed.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I just saw 4 to 5 pieces of it. I know what it's like because I did see a sign in the Carbonear area where there was some saying do not touch it. It's 4 or 5 plants, which means thousands of seeds.
Mm-hmm. Where exactly?
On the highway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Where?
Yeah, on the highway, coming from Logie Bay Road, going west, just before the bridge, on the passenger side of the road, that's where they are. And then just past that bridge is the turnoff to Stavanger Drive.
Okay, I know what you mean. So, yeah, down in the East End, there are various places around town you'll see these signs recently, the ones at the City of St. John's ones. But you were talking about Carbonear specifically first, were you?
No. I was just saying that's where I saw the sign and the plant,
okay.
So I can recognize it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, sorry. I was wondering if they had, look, it kind of, obviously, I mean, these exist, but the signs sort of catch you off guard, and all of a sudden, there's a little bit of wariness. I mean, we can brush past anything and not really be aware of it, but the signs are pretty explicit, and there's a good picture and a good explanation, and we've done stories on our VOCM website if anybody wants to look it up and just Google giant hogweed and VOCM. The thing that caught me, of course, was... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, my concern is they should be dug up because obviously they're spreading fast because each plant has thousands of seeds. So I don't know who to call to get them to go dig it up. That can do it in a safe manner.
Yeah, I mean, where would you start and where would you end,
Well, you start with plant number 1 because those 4 or 5 that I saw there, There was nothing there last year. I go by there all the time, and I'm Hawkeye when it comes to plants. So obviously, those 4 to 5 plants, there's going to be hundreds after that.
Yep.
So it's better to get rid of them now. If they're a poisonous plant, like they say, what's the point of telling people to beware of it? You know, if I had the right situation, I don't walk very well, I'd go out and dig it up myself.
Now, the city...
That's the only reason why I'm reporting it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you are. I mean, we need to know where they are. In that particular area there where you were talking about, off Torbay Road, just west, and they could be popping up anywhere because, of course, the signs are in. There's evidence in Byron Park and in the East End and West End, so various places around the city. And the city does, say, I mean, we reported at that time to contact them or a landscape professional if you see a good bunch of them, and they will, endeavor either if they have to get somebody out there, a landscape professional, or the city themselves, they will remove the plants as they have resources to do so, and that's the 311 call, I guess.
Yeah, I will. Thank you. That's really what I'm looking for, where I should contact.
Yeah.
Because, it's not likely anyone's going to be walking by there, but that's not the issue. It's those seeds. Those seeds didn't just go there. They're maybe a bird dropped them, or they blew there with the wind, which means when these plants go to seed, you're talking thousands of seeds with 4 or 5 plants.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for your time, and I guess making people aware.
Yeah, no, and that's you. That's all on you, Bev, for doing it, for giving us the call and helping us. That's why we rely so much on our callers. I can't be everywhere. We just can't be everywhere at all times. But
Oh, no, of course not.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I don't know how many times I listen to write the phone number down, but I'm always driving. Wait, I got it today. Now you'll be in my book.
Deadly.
Thank you very much.
Keep them coming. Thanks again, Bev. Really appreciate the call.
Okay. Have a good day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Take care. Thanks. Okie dokie. And I just wanted to mention one more time, I got a couple of personal emails asking me about Rhonda, who I spoke with yesterday on the program. And Rhonda was in certainly health, a lot of health issues, challenges, dire straits all around, waiting for a form from her doctor, which, would help her with her financial issues. And money, and trying to get treatment and what she needs to have a better quality of life. So I made some calls on behalf of Rhonda. I haven't got a call back yet. I understand the doctor she was trying to reach, if you were following this yesterday. I just want to give some people an update because I got a couple of emails. And just so you know, we're on it. I'm waiting for a call back. I left a message because that's all you could do on behalf of her, and even passed on her number again and just explaining her situation. So we are on it. I'm doing what I can within the privacy realm. Without encroaching too much, and of course they're only going to release so much information to me, if any. So just following up, letting people know that we're working on it. And I left a message again with Rhonda too to get back to me if she has any progress as well, if they do get back to her, the doctor's office, that is. So just so people are aware, let's take our next break of the morning, and we got about 45 minutes left. Some calls there, but we're always welcoming you. Let's take the break. And welcome back to the show. And speaking of animals and puppy dogs and animals and pets and all the rest of it, very timely call now on line number 4, veterinarian Dr. Maggie Brown-Burry. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you today?
Pretty good. Are you still VP with the Veterinary Medical Association, Canadian Medical?
Yeah, I'm president-elect of the Canadian Veterinary Medical Association.
President-elect now. Thank you for updating me. Congratulations. So when do you take the role formally?
In June.
Oh, next year.
Next year.
Okay, next year. All right, so you got a bit of time to think about it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Okay, so a timely conversation. We got some hot days going on here, and people may say this is a no-brainer. For some people, that's a good thing. We like to know that they're informed on how to look after animals in hot weather. But the floor is yours. What do you recommend the most right now?
Well, the big thing is not leaving your pets in the car when it's parked for any amount of time. It does get very warm in the car very quickly, even if you've parked in shade. And the other big thing is not taking your dog for a walk in the middle of the day, trying to get those walks in early in the morning or sort of after supper time when the day has cooled off a bit. And a day like today where it's not so cloudy and or at least I'm in Portugal Cove, St. Phillips right now, and it's not a cloud in sight, the asphalt and pavement can get quite hot.
Mm-hmm.
So that can actually cause burns on the pads of your dog's feet. So another reason to avoid walks in the middle of the day or putting some protective footwear on your pups.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, just take off your socks and walk around on it yourself. You'll see real quick.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, for sure.
Oh my God! A question I get often is, does it? Are larger animals more susceptible than smaller animals?
It's not the size that matters so much. It has more to do with how they breathe and the shape of their face.
Right.
And our dogs that have flatter faces, so like your pugs, your Boston Terriers, your boxer dogs, they have reduced airways because their face is flattened. And dogs do a lot of their temperature control through panting and through those airways. So if a dog is panting as a baseline, which a lot of these breeds, if they're active at all, they're panting, they don't have a lot of reserve for cooling themselves down if it's quite warm. So a dog who's going to be panting with any amount of activity really should not be doing much when it's a hot day.
And it's like anything, your kids, your animals. So if it's if the dog is not normally panting and the teeth are showing and the mouth is open and you can see the effort they're going through, then you probably know it's in a hard spot. I'll tell you, the hardest thing for me, Maggie, is walking through a parking lot and seeing it.
Yes.
And maybe even a crack of the window. But when it's like 110-pound, like a huge dog, and the other day two large German Shepherds in a small car, and the windows were cracked a bit, but it was 22, 23 and sunny. It did everything in my power to resist the urge to do something. But you engage it all, and you do so at your at all risk,
Yeah. And for sure, when they're in a car like that and you have a couple big dogs panting, that is going to increase the temperature in that vehicle faster. I see it even in the exam room. If I'm in a small exam room with a big dog and we're having a long conversation, it starts to get really muggy because that panting is putting more moisture out into the air. So I would always recommend to anyone who thinks that, no, it's totally fine, to leave themselves in the car with the air conditioning turned off and see how quickly you get uncomfortable. I know I'm not alone. Sometimes when I drive home from work, I sort of sit in the car for a little bit, have a little moment of silence. On a hot day, that moment is very short because it becomes very uncomfortable in the car quite quickly.
Yeah, car's turned off. There's no air conditioning. And look, the other day, and not only that, see the animals, say, tied up or tied up, but have maybe a leash around something. Someone's dropped into a store or something for a few minutes. And boy, I tell you, it's hard watching. I just, especially if it's any length of time. I was just up along on the mainland, and we were walking down a pretty popular street, and there was one there, and we went by, and 20 minutes later we came back, and that was Toronto, and it was pretty damn hot. And there he was, and I never left my mind the whole day. We were convinced that, we went by and we said, look, we got to be back through here in about 15 or 20 minutes. If they're still there, we'll go in and say something maybe to the owner. But we couldn't even make sure where they were, where the owner might have been, of the animal, let alone the owner of the store. So anyway, it is hard stuff. It's pretty common sense. It's a no-brainer, but boy, there's just not a lot of common sense sometimes when it comes to animals.
No, not at all.
Look, I appreciate this. Anything else? Do you know one thing I didn't cover or anything?
The other big thing, when the weather is warm, we love to go down to a swimming hole, and a lot of dogs do love to get in the water as well. But especially like with this recent weather where it's been very humid, if your dog has a really thick coat or one of those double coats, like I'm thinking like a golden retriever or a husky, you really need to make sure that they dry off. Because if that fur stays damp for an extended period of time, they can develop skin infections because of that.
Yeah, and
so they're certainly they enjoy swimming. I don't want to take that away from them, but you got to make sure they get dry.
Yeah, it's not just humans, right? The different things that cause the itch and all that sort of thing that were swimmer's itch with hearing and different parasites and everything's in the algae in the water when it gets so warm and what's stirred up. So yeah, there's always that risk. It's not just about the dog smell, the wet dog smell, is it?
Yeah.
Right. Maggie Brownberry, thank you. Always appreciate this. Very timely, and we can never remind people enough.
Perfect. Always happy to chat.
Thanks again. Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye. All right, great call. Let's go right to line number 3, and the mayor of Marystown, Jerry Brenton, you're on the air.
Yeah, Yeah, hi. How you doing?
Good. I'm really glad you called in. A couple of weeks ago, I was down Marystown Way, and it was a pleasure to go across the Bailey Bridge instead of having to go all around. Of course, I don't have to live. I don't live there, and I don't have to do the detour commute the last few years. But great news. Hey, I'll let you take as I said earlier, you have the floor.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to just say I was up to Smuggler's Cove there a couple of weeks ago when you guys played.
Oh,
you're awesome. Actually, you and the band done very 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 good. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. It was a great time.
Smuggler's Cove is such a fantastic venue. It's unbelievable what they got going on up there.
Oh, listen, Tom Hollett, God rest him and God love him. I knew him for so long, and obviously, piece of furniture down that way, and his family, and everything that they do, and the Smuggler's Cove, the dream that he had. So to be a part of that every year now, I think it's been 6 years, to be invited down and play outdoors in that venue. It's a little old western town that they got created down there. Beautiful setting, backs onto the cove. The stage is backed right onto it, and what a great time. And so, yes, I appreciate the kind words, and well, it looks like we're going back next year, too, so look out.
No, it's great. I'm a bar owner in the area as well. It's no, I just can't say enough about Smuggler's Cove. It's like in the summertime in particular, it's just so good. But anyway, let's get back to Marystown.
Yes, sir.
It's a great day. It's a great week for Marystown, of course. The bridge closed. Oh, I can't say exactly when, but it was somewhere in 2023, and it separated the whole town. It cut the town in half. And as you know about Marystown, most of the businesses, the doctor's offices, the fire departments, the emergency services, everything is on the north side. Mm-hmm. So, but a lot of the population is on the south side. So, the people from the south side have to go to the north side. It's not a convenience. It's just something that they need to do. And with the bridge gone, it was a 15-minute commute for the easiest times, but for a lot of people in Little Bay and boy, those places, they were half an hour to trying to get around.
And that adds
if there was a fire. Yeah, and if there was a fire or a medical emergency, they had to go around the loop, or they had to make arrangements to come across the old Canning Bridge. Yeah. So when the Bailey Bridge comes, that was 2.5 years afterwards. Like it was a welcome sign. Like the Bailey Bridge is really doing what it was supposed to do.
Absolutely, and when you look at everything that's coming, so just to for people who don't know, we're talking about the replacement, of course, of the Canning. So not only that, so you get a 2-span concrete bridge. I think there's an underpass as well at Ville-Marie Drive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So that's part of it.
Yes, this is a big job.
Yeah.
Like everybody has to realize how big this is. This contract consists of demobbing the old bridge, installing a new bridge. I mean, that's a big job in its own. And besides that, then they have to take down the old temporary bridge, the Bailey Bridge. And then besides that, there's an overpass just 600 or 700 feet up the road. That is its life is gone. So that's going to be removed, and there's going to be a new overpass there. So this is a very, very, very big project. And I spoke with a contractor the other day, Trident. I asked them for a schedule, and they couldn't give me a schedule. They just got awarded the job. They got to order materials. They got to. We're getting a culvert for this overpass, and you're not going to pick up the Walmart. This stuff is, this stuff takes time.
Yeah.
So, but we're hoping on seeing some activity on the bridge by the end of the year. But boy, God, next year is going to be a friggin' busy year.
On wheels, literally. And I think completion date is August. 2 years from now.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
That's the target.
Yeah, now, and so when the just for your listeners' view, when the construction's ongoing, the Bailey Bridge is going to be shut down for 42 days, but it's not consecutive days.
Okay.
So, could be a week now, and then it'll be open for 2 weeks. It could be another week then, when they're tearing down the overpass and building a new one. Correct?
Okay. Well, you know what the trick there is going to be, and I don't need to tell you, Jerry. It's going to be communication. Right?
Yes.
Knowing exactly
when
those 42 days are, how they're going to roll out. You know.
Yeah, that's right. And we've already made some arrangements with the council to reroute a couple of side roads so you can go around the overpass and stuff. So the things are falling in place. I know people in Mayorstown are anxious to see this happen, but we just got to be patient for another little while. This is going to happen. So. It's only a matter of time.
Yep. Credit where credit is due. Minister of Transportation, Barry Pettin, the MHA for the area, Jeff Dwyer, Placentia West Bellevue. A lot of work, a lot of pressure on them to get this done over the years. So good on them. And look, we'll take all the good news we can get on this program. And I'll see you next year.
Yeah, and there's also a little bit more credit. We have a bridge committee home. Yep. They've been working tirelessly on this as well.
Yeah, sorry.
And you got callers in your open line show. I mean that stuff helps too. It keeps the pressure on everybody to keep these things moving ahead a little bit. So it's it's good. It's a good news story.
Yeah, I think I ran into former Mayor Brian Keating there at the Irving at Goobies. I think when we were on our way down, we had a good chat about this very thing. I said, "The Bailey's up, right?" He's just so we knew which way we were going when we got down there. So it's people like himself and others, absolutely. The lobby efforts to keeping it on the front burner. It's easy for these things just get delayed and delayed and delayed. So great news.
Yeah. Okay. Can I just switch topics for 1 second?
Sure. Go ahead.
Have I got time?
Yeah.
Okay, a little bit more good news, or prepared good news. I'm up in St. Lawrence right now. There was a big announcement here.
Oh yes.
For the space launch.
Yep.
So it's great news. They announced $10 million in combined funding. So that is very, very good news for up here. But the point I'm getting at is we need to keep our foot on the fire for defense work. We need to get Mayorstown back working again. We need to get our young people coming back home. We need to get our population up. We need to get to put the Barron Peninsula and Mayorstown back to the way that it was like 20 years ago. Like that's the most important thing about all this right now.
Yeah, when the shipyard was on bust, the floor spar mine was on bust, everything was humming along, and Kiewit. But yeah, the Atlantic Spaceport Complex, $10 million. I believe the federal minister is there too, is he not today?
Yeah, Sean Fraser was here, and
big deal.
Lynn Paddock is here.
I think a lot of people, locally, they didn't quite believe it. I think people had to believe this to see it and understand the importance and significance of this spaceport complex. The only one in Canada that'll be able to do these launches. So yeah, we look forward to the formal details coming out now. The announcement's only today. I didn't want to get ahead of them and scoop it because the actual details, there might be some conflict there or inconsistency. So I wanted to wait for them, but I'm glad you mentioned it, and we'll have that. We'll be all over that today in the news.
Yeah, so we just need to keep pushing. Everybody got to keep pushing. The defense spending money is the way to go. We need to get Mortier Bay working again, one way or the other. Thanks a lot for giving me a chance to speak.
Anytime at all, Jerry. Thanks again for the call.
Okay, Brian.
Take care. Bye. Okay, Mayorstown there, Jerry Brenton. I love the good news calls. That was a good news call. Let's take our second last break of the morning. Got about 25 minutes left in the show. Maybe a few minutes to get in on the action. Got a couple of callers there. Maybe some space. We'll see right after the break.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And welcome back. And remaining in the realm of good news, let's go to line number one and welcome to the program Ryan Kirby, co-founder of the Vita Nova Recovery Center. You're on the air.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Really good. Thanks very much. Weather-wise and also the string of a bit of good news we've had here in the last 20 minutes. So keep it going. What's going on?
Yeah, no, man, I really appreciate you reaching out this morning. I sent you an email there, and Vita Nova has some very exciting news that we wanted to share with the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and that is that Vita Nova just received a full 3-year accreditation through CARF International, one of the leading accrediting agencies and companies in the world. So we're very, very excited that, we're not even a year open and that we were able to attain this accreditation. So, it's just a very exciting time for us, Brian.
Yeah, and so people who don't, obviously the Vita Nova, what a fantastic venture, for people with addictions and seeking treatment and their families and referring physicians and government partners. Just a, incredible piece of community-led, outside of the government realm with government assistance. But, for all the people watching what's going on and the crisis that we have, we need these efforts, these independent efforts, if you will, and the accreditation. Just tell me how it changes things, say, from prior to accreditation to post.
Yeah, Brian, I really think the big thing, is that it validates what we're doing up here, and it really, it shows that this independent agency came in, reviewed what we were doing, and said that, we met all of these standards. The surveyor that we had come in our building had visited over the last 15 years around 53 to 55 facilities around the world, and she said of all the places she's been, she has never felt a vibe like she feels when being at Vita Nova. And so that was pretty incredible to hear, to get that validation. We've always, thought that what we're doing up here is a really good thing. And, to get that validation and to, be able to share it with the province, it's incredible. It gives government confidence in what we're doing. It shows them, they were working with us when we weren't accredited, which is, incredible that they, they did their due diligence and seen that there was a need for Vita Nova and supported us. And so we're very hopeful now that we're fully accredited that support will continue to keep working with them. They believed in us from day one. John Hogan did, and then the new government that came in, they right away, supported us. And so, without them, we probably wouldn't be here today. So we're very grateful for everything that the Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services and the government have done. Yeah, and
when you say up here, speaking about this off Salmon Line, about Southwest Pond, right near Holyrood.
Yeah, we're 30 minutes outside the city, so we're very close. But yet we're, when you step onto our property, you feel like, you are just in you're in this beautiful sanctuary where we have a kilometer of waterfront. We've got our kayaks and paddle boards, and we have all this stuff up here, so we do a lot of our programming and things are immersed in nature. We do a lot of things outside. So that's just one thing that we do. But it's very exciting times for us, and, to be able to add a third facility to the province and one that is fully accredited, we think is an incredibly meaningful thing for the province of Newfoundland and Labrador.
There's no question the environment adds to the treatment, to the healing, to the entire, as you said, the vibe, the atmosphere, that sort of thing. You need to get, no offense, but a facility in downtown St. John's is probably not going to have the same results as a facility out there. Not to get it out of people's minds and out of consciousness and to hide it away, but just for the, as you said, right, the environment goes so far towards helping with a treatment program. I can only imagine, and not just for the residents there, but also the families and everyone else who's attached to this, because it's not just the person that deals with the addiction; it's the relatives as well, and friends and family and everybody affected. How many residents do you accommodate at one time out there?
Yeah, so we have 16 private rooms. So at any time we could have 16 clients in our building, and then we have 2 full medical detox beds as well. So we could be detoxing people. A big thing with us, Brian, is that when you graduate our program after 6 weeks, we have 10 sober living cottages right next to our building. So that gives clients an opportunity to get an extra 3 months of counseling, treatment, and we can slowly integrate people back into the workforce and different things like this. So we have transitional specialists who their job is to help people for when they graduate the program, because a treatment is a big thing, but really that's step one, and really your recovery starts once you leave the facility that you're in. So having that support when you leave, we're finding, Brian, is a major key factor in what we're doing here. I'm happy. I can even tell you MOU right now that we are running about a 65 to 70% success rate up here with keeping people clean and sober. Now, that is exceptionally high. I understand that, and we are new and we're only 11 months at what we're, open. So I think, it's probably not realistic for that number to stay so high, but it's giving us a very good idea that what we're doing is working.
Yeah, it's a great idea to not just open the doors after 6 weeks and off they go. And I mean, having that transition, that sort of gradual reintegration, keeping an eye monitoring, making sure things are good. I imagine you have quite the wait list. How does somebody go about getting there?
Yeah, so we are a private facility, Brian, but we are helping people who are looking for publicly funded beds through, say, to go to either the Grace Centre or Humber, right? So Vita Nova was acting as the third facility on the island, and we were taking people from the central wait list. Now that contract is currently up, and we are certainly open and hoping and exploring arrangements with NLHS and the Department of Health to continue that, to cut down on wait times for inpatient. But if you could call Vita Nova today, and we can help you get on that wait list and put you there. If you're looking to come privately, you just need to give us a call, and we can also talk through that. But you can go to your family doctor, if you have a counselor, and any of these people can help you fill out the form to get on the central wait list. And then Vita Nova would be an option when your time comes in the wait list. Vita Nova would then be an option you could choose Vita Nova to come to. And
just adults, or is there an age?
It's 18 and over.
Okay.
Right now.
Yep. I know there are a lot of questions, just simple ones that people are wondering about, but all of that information, of course, is online as well. So.
It is, yes. We have a brand new website that we just launched recently, vitanovarecovery.ca, and we encourage all people to go there and check it out. You can give us a call at any time for anyone who has any questions about treatment or anything like that. If anyone's struggling, please reach out.
Absolutely. Ryan, thanks again for this. Congratulations on the accreditation from CARF. I'm not a big fan of of the acronyms, but I'll just leave it at that. Just tell us all what CARF is one more time.
Yeah, so CARF is the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities.
There you go.
It is one of the toughest accrediting bodies to be accredited by.
Perfect. Well, congrats again.
I'll leave it at that for you, Brian.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a lot of information, and we appreciate every bit of it. Congratulations again. This one's good. That accreditation's good till 2029, so that's great news, too. Brian, thanks again for this. Yep, sorry.
No, that is till 2029, but like I said, just now that we are accredited, now the work just starts for us too, is keeping everything up to date and making sure that we stay compliant in everything that we're doing, and CARF will stay on top of us for that. So we're very excited, Brian, and I really, really appreciate you taking my call this morning.
And works both ways. Thank you again. Good luck with all the great work that you're doing.
Cheers. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too. Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Ryan Kirby there with Vita Nova Recovery Center. Yeah, a lot of information there. We have a lot of it here too. So if you didn't get all of the ins and outs of how to get into there, or whether or not you want to get on the wait list, and the different routes that you can go, and the contact information, we got it all here. If you didn't get it that quick, or you can go online, Vita Nova. Okay, take our last break of the morning. Couple of callers there. Let's go. Welcome back to the show. The home stretch for sure. Now let's go right to line number 3. Joyce, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you today?
Very well, thank you very much. The sun is splitting the rocks, and I can't wait to bathe in a bit of it.
Don't you just love it? We didn't have a summer. It's about time it started.
We thought it was over. We thought we were done around the regatta day, remember?
But in the evening, the heavy dew, and it gets so chilly. It's unreal for such hot days.
I know, I'll take it. The good with the bad, right?
Yeah, well, it's better than some areas people are living under, so.
Oh, it's better than Nepal today, and that's a really...
People over there, my heart goes out to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I tell you, so sad.
Yeah.
Anyway, the subject I want to get on is about... I had a pacemaker put in last year.
Okay.
And I wanted to get a medic alert bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
I was approved a long time ago, months ago. Still haven't received anything, haven't heard anything. My pharmacy, PharmaChoice, the lady there has been fighting tooth and nail. The Aboriginals have it covered that I can get it. And nobody's getting anywhere with these people, and they should be ashamed of all the stress they're causing people.
Who are these people? Without, not specific names, but what organization or what entity did you order it or ask for it through?
I didn't order it. My pharmacy ordered it.
Do you know who they went through, or does the Medical Alert Foundation and?
I think it's I think it's Medical Alert is called. I think I could be wrong.
There's two general ones you'd go through. One's called the Medical Alert Foundation of Canada, and then there's the Universal Medical ID. I guess it depends on how. So the pharmacy did this on your behalf?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For months they've been at this.
It's unusual that it would take that long. I mean, there's a way you can subscribe. You get a subscription to this thing. You input all your medical details and that sort of thing, like the critical health conditions you have and
everything.
Yeah. And it's secure. It's a secure portal, I believe, on the Medical Alert Foundation Canada. So you can only go through them to find out where. Yep.
Ontario.
Pardon me. Say that again.
I think the company is in Ontario.
Okay. Yeah. Now the Medical Alert Foundation of Canada, I believe, does have a headquarters in Ontario, maybe in Toronto, but you don't know for sure who your pharmacy is dealing with, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But anyway, all I have to say, whichever company it may be, they should be ashamed of all the stress they're causing people, because if I had an incident and an ambulance had to come, if they did compressions on your chest, they could kill you to start with, if they didn't know, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you know? Like, do you know that there are other people in the same situation as you?
Well, I was told by the pharmacist that there's other people having the same problems.
Okay.
So it's not just me.
Well, then it's even more important to know exactly which organization they're working with, because I could always, they have media people, media communications people that we could reach out to and say, is there an issue? I'll look into it a little more. I didn't know it was an issue, to be honest, but they're telling you it is, apparently.
It's a major issue.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, I'm 79 years old, and I'd like to live as long as I can, however long that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you sound great for 79. Not that you shouldn't sound great. I suppose it's hard to tell over a phone call, but you certainly got the vest and vim and vigor going. So.
Yeah, and I still know how to talk, so it's all good. I was going to say, I'd like to say hi to Patty Daly, Danny Williams, Tony Wakeham, and Eddie Joyce. These are all good guys in my book.
Okay, you've done so.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they appreciate it.
Thank you for your help, and hopefully we'll get something done about this, because this is a bit much.
Yeah, that's too long, Joyce. Let me know if and when you find out from your pharmacy what
I'll call in and I'll give you the information. I will.
Yeah, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be, personal information or privacy stuff. Just exactly who it is that you're waiting on.
Okay, listen, thank you for taking my call, and you have a lovely day.
And you as well. Thanks for the wishes. Take care. Okay, Joyce there. And let's see, right to line number 1. And Helen, you're on the air.
Brian.
Good morning, Helen.
This is Helen Bidgood calling.
Oh, yeah.
Jill Bidgood. Pardon me?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, Helen.
This is Helen Bidgood calling.
Yes.
Jill Bidgood is a missing person. Jill Bidgood is my sister. And I'd like to give a public announcement. I'm asking for assistance from the public. The last time my sister's been seen is Thursday, August the 13th. She had a summer home in Maberley that's close to Ellison and Bonavista.
Mm-hmm.
She's been going out there for 20 years. She knows the area and knows the community. Then there became a theory on August the 16th, which is Sunday, a theory that she was on the cliff, so she could have fallen, she could have slipped, she could have decided. So with the theory, this RCMP did a search, a one-day search, and what I want to tell the public, they have stopped searching. The search was stopped on August the 22nd. So right now, since August the 22nd and days in between that, nobody is looking for Jill. They stopped the land and search Rescue and RCMP Bonavista have stopped searching by land. There's no Coast Guard on the coast. So I've been here in Beverly and Bonavista since I found out my sister's missing. I was announced on August the 22nd, Saturday, that Jill Bigot is missing. A lot of people are following on Facebook. Mm-hmm. The situation right now to the public, RCMP have stopped since Sunday, August the 23rd. They're not searching for Jill. If they find any new information at all to the case, like anything at all, so if anybody in the public has seen Jill, anything since August the 13th, they need to call the RCMP Bonavista, and they will resume the search. In the meantime, if this theory they're talking about on August the 16th, which was Sunday, if she did fall, slip, or decided, we need to do a recovery and find a female body, which is my sister. No one is out searching the coastline. I pleaded today, I have called RCMP higher division today and pleading, please go and search the coastline. So I'm asking now, there's two boats in Beverly. Tom Porter is one boat owner. Mm-hmm. He went out last night for me as a volunteer and to help me. There's only 2 small boats in Beverly. Now, I saw a crab boat out there last night, so I want to let the little Catalina know there's fish plant out there. People are going out. Also, this is cod fishing season, so people are going out for codfish. So I want people to be vigilant right now from the Beverly area down to Little Catalina. And if this is a recovery situation, we need to find my sister. And she could be in the water. But nobody's out looking, and I'm pleading any fisherman, any boat owner, anyone with sailboat, anyone who wants to help. First of all, let's look for my sister. If this is a recovery, let's find her body. Secondly, this is a theory, and I need to continue land and search. So I'm looking for someone with a drone. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to pay. If there's drone operators out there who can help me, I want to search the barns around Jill's house. Okay. She's a berry picker, and she could still be on land. Okay. So thank you.
Helen, you've said so here. I am so sorry for what you and your family are going through. I know we've had this... The story of your missing sister on our website and the RCMP news releases and those sorts of things. Again, between Maberly and Little Catalina and the trail that she would be known to hike, we have all your contact information here. So anyone that might be able to help with a drone or whatever, I'm so sorry. I can't imagine a family going through this and how difficult this call must be for you. As calm as you sound, I can only imagine what's going on with your family. I wish you nothing but the best.
Somebody has a drone.
Yes.
Right now, I'm in Beverly. I'm staying out here until I find my sister. Okay. But I want, if anyone knows anybody with a drone who can help me today, I will pay. And my number is 749-7077. That's my cell number, 709, of course, 749-7077. And you can also be contacting. But, Brian, the thing here is that the police have stopped everything. And now it's up to the public, and the public don't realize this. The public do not know that the RCMP are waiting for them to contact any kind of information. So this is so important, and people, berry picking hunters, fishermen, everyone, please be vigilant and to help me find my sister.
Helen, I hope this comes to that resolution, and I hope you do find your sister. Again, we have all your contact information, and I wish you nothing but the best, and feel free to call again at any time and update us. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
VOCM.
You're welcome. Bye. Okay, right there we have all that information on the missing person, Jill Bidgood. And again, there are stories on our website with the description and where and when she was last seen. So, and any other information you need, listeners, if you can help in any way, and drone operators, we're here. You know how to reach us. Sarah Strickland, Captain, ready? Please drive safely, everyone. Arrive alive. Thanks, Dave Williams. VOCM cares.